Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Wow, we got a lot of people already in. How's it going, folks? I had to rush to get here in time. I just got here in time. Let's see. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Joan. SM. How you doing? Diane. Robin. Everybody's filing in. Happy days. So, what's this going on with Katie Hobbs? What's everybody seeing? Hi, Linda. How are you doing? So, let's see. Patriot Missile, how you doing? Nice to see you. Bubba, how you doing, Bubba? Hope you're doing well, bud. Dory Fickle, how you doing? Now we've got to see Finding Dory. We'll have two Dorys. Marla, how you doing? Joy. Annette. So you turned 70 today. Happy birthday, SM. Happy birthday. And many more. So I want to thank everybody for coming in tonight for the live stream. Everybody who watches afterwards, if you want to speed it up a little bit, because I like to say hi to people. And if you're new, welcome aboard. Don't be scared. Go ahead and jump in, chat, say something. We just don't take to no cussing or anything like that. Ha ha ha. If people don't like Mr. T, we try to get them to go see things our way. How you doing, Kicking Bird? Quilt, how you doing? Wow. Rubber Toe, hi Nikki, how you? Damon. Kim, how are you? Angela, Henri gave me a thumbs up. Yeah, if you're thinking about it, folks, hit that thumbs up button so it'll help everybody get to see the video. Hi, Sherry. How are you? So, Katie Hobbs, I just checked before I hit the live button to see if there was any updates on what's going on with Katie Hobbs. Fancy Oak, how you doing? B-Dog's here. Interesting tidbits here. Whoa. My chat's disappeared for a second. Pappy Two Bears is here. So if I missed anybody, I apologize. I know everybody's rolling in. Hi, Karen. Sissy, how you doing? Whoa. So anyway, I found an article, Island Girl, how you doing? That said Fox News was making more drama out of it than it's supposed to be. I'll read it to you in a minute. That Katie Hobbs was had business to take care of, some stupidness, nothing that really explains why the treasurer had to become the governor, even if it is like many articles are saying for a couple of hours. Hi, Outlandish Patriot. Hi, Island Girl. A Google account. Dottie. Yeah, smash that like button. Miss Mendersu, how are you? So let me get to that article. Just going down the chats quick, see if anybody's got any updates I may have missed. Yeah, Sharon, we heard Shane passed away. Shane Phillips. We heard about that last night. That's terrible. He was a patriot. And for those of you who don't know who we're talking about, he was the person who live streamed. And he used to be on Liberty Warrior. I was on panel with him a couple of times before I started doing my own thing. And if you remember him? He used to put a waterfall behind him while he was talking. Do you all remember that? And he had a stroke, and he had some other issues that kind of avalanched on top of him. And hi, Mike 1176. And he didn't make it. So it's like we've been saying. None of us know how long the situation is going to take, and I referred to many times what Trump said at one of his rallies. We don't know, if we'll live to see it. Like I was saying, 1776 didn't happen over a busy weekend. It took years. So I'm hoping that's not the case this time. Kirsten, how you doing? I appreciate your help last week with buy me a coffee. Very much. And I got to spell your name right now. I put the K-I-R. Sorry about that, honey. Happy days. So anyway, one falls, another rises. I'm hoping that he's at peace and that he didn't suffer. He was a nice man. I am. Hi, Larry. You first saw Shane on Prepping 101. That's right. Yeah, that's been a couple of years back, wasn't it? Do you all hear much out of Prepping 101? Hi, Redhausen. Sissy said, I heard allegedly Mrs. Hobbs had a date with the U.S. Marshals. Yeah, it's all very, very odd, and the antennas are up for this Katie Hobbs business. It was actually reported around midnight last night, a couple of hours after me and Nikki finished our live stream, or maybe even just an hour and a half or so. And so it was supposed to be till, according to the letter from the treasurer, it was supposed to be mid-afternoon today. That she would be supposedly, I guess, restored by all the articles I was reading. And let me see this article I'm talking about. It's the last thing I could find. It said, the title was, let me pull this up. Fox News said Governor Katie Hobbs disappeared. She didn't. This is where she was. That's the title of the article on the internet. It's by AZ Central, and that came out Mountain Time, 4:54 p.m. today by Ray Stern for the Arizona Republic. And before I read this article, I just want to preface that there was very serious conflict between her appointees, I believe 13 of them. And I screen grabbed some of these article headlines. I just want to make sure I don't fall off the chat screen. Fox News stirred up conspiracy theories online Thursday with a report on how State Treasurer Kimberly Yee was named acting governor. After what Fox called the, quote, mysterious disappearance of Governor Katie Hobbs. Holy cow. Well, it was mysterious, and it still is. But I'll read this article. You tell me if there's an explanation of what caused her to step down. Basically, the erroneous news report, underlined, later changed by Fox. Okay. Followed a false rumor that went viral on social media earlier this week that Hobbs had been, quote, indicted by the state Senate on charges related to conspiring with the Mexican drug cartel. Well, if you'll remember, there was testimony before the Senate about where they had tracked down deeds that were phony and deeds of trust, which denote loans, 6-figure, 7-figure, whatever loans that were all phony and being used for money laundering. And anyway, we won't get into that right now. Let me keep reading. Hobbs didn't disappear. She was in Washington, D.C. Wednesday for a meeting with border issues with Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas following a week-long visit to Taiwan. I didn't know she was in Taiwan for a week. An important Arizona trade ally. Well, there you got a problem right there. That's like when Feinstein was doing her business directly with China on foreign trade, and that's a problem, a big problem. But anyway, she flew back to the state Thursday to meet with President Joe Biden, who arrived Wednesday night for a visit that promoted his campaign messages. I'm trying to make heads or tails of that. She flew back to Arizona to meet Joe Biden in Arizona. She flew back Wednesday to meet Joe Biden Thursday. What? She flew back to the state Thursday to meet with Joe Biden, who arrived Wednesday night for a visit that promoted his campaign messages. Okay. Arizona Secretary of State Adrian Fontes was acting governor while Hobbs was out of state, but he left the state Wednesday for a pre-planned trip to Washington, D.C., where he'll meet with congressional staff and members, quote, about the need for federal funding for elections, said Fontes spokesman Paul Smith Leonard. Oh, I guess every time you get on a plane and fly to D.C. or to a different state that they got to appoint an acting governor? I've never heard of that. Have you all heard of that? And this current was acting before, Adrian Fontes, talking about the need for federal funding of elections. That's a new one we haven't heard talked about. So that's all very, in the old days we used to say, well, that's queer, but we can't say that now. So I have to say, I guess, odd. State Attorney General Chris Mays, next in line of succession, is also in Washington, D.C. for, quote, meetings, and will return Friday morning, her spokesman said, Richie Taylor. So everybody's going to Washington, D.C. for all these big meetings, and you got to appoint a new governor. I didn't know that. That meant Yee, the treasurer, was acting governor for less than 24 hours. And then it finishes up saying, some nonsense. Somebody said, and by the way, the Senate can't indict anyway. So the rumors of being indicted by the Senate is not true. So does any of that stuff make any sense to you? So then I checked her Twitter account, and there were no other articles saying she back in business or anything like that. A day ago, she tweeted 4 Arizona institutions were just named blue ribbon schools by US.gov. These outstanding USED.gov. These outstanding results are driven by our dedicated teachers as well as our commitment to helping every child reach their highest potential. So Arizona schools got blue ribbons from the Biden administration's education department, which promotes all the stuff we know. Okay, they promote. So, well, anyway, then her next, and as far as I know, last tweet was about 6 hours ago. Senator John McCain's heroism and service transcended political parties and reflected the values of Arizona and the nation. It is an honor to memorialize his life by announcing the establishment of the McStain Library. So yes, I found that odd. I checked everybody I could think of. No one had made a mention of this. The post that I first saw it on was posted about 23 or 4 hours ago by Citizens Free Press, and I have not heard or seen anything else. So, a very odd situation. Somebody in the comments put, well, that's what usually happens when people go through a medical procedure. And I said, I answered him back, no lieutenant, no lieutenant governor, question mark. And then, and then after I answered the question, I started saying to myself, well, with some of these people, I don't know, maybe she was getting surgery, bottom surgery or something like that. You never know with this bunch. But I don't think that would take an overnight deal. Yes, interesting tidbits. Her statement was very interesting. Well, she referred to those 13 appointments. Let me get this article out of here because it's a cheap way of running cover, I think. And I will find that letter she wrote. And I guess you all heard that they passed a rule in the Senate where they can't dress like bums. They call it the Fetterman Bill. You got to get back to dressing like a normal senator or with some respect for the office. So I don't know if I dropped off there a minute or not. But her letter alludes to these appointments. Which she blocked 2 of the people being appointed. It was either yesterday or day before yesterday. She blocked them from attending a finance meeting. She had a big problem with them, 13 of them. So here's her letter. I have been notified that I will be serving. Now, she got notified? Okay. I've been notified that I will be serving as acting governor beginning later this evening until mid-morning tomorrow. Mid-morning tomorrow. So it should already be over. While I am pleased to step into this role, I will refrain from naming directors to the 13 agencies that currently have vacancies and will not call the Arizona legislature into session to confirm them. Okay, I got to jump back in the studio real quick. Yeah, that's the 13 they've been fighting over. I believe a judge got involved with one of them. There's apparently some kind of conflicts or serious problems. And she's been in office for a while. I mean, Carrie Lake's been battling this for a while. So then she goes on to say, that being said, I do hope that when the governor returns to Arizona, she will promptly name qualified directors to these important state agencies and remove the legal uncertainty that exists for all of the regulatory actions taken by the agencies. I expect to see a swift resolution of this matter so we can get back to getting work for Arizona taxpayers. The people of Arizona deserve leaders who follow the rule of law. My. If I dropped off, what I was saying was, she said, I look forward to getting back to business and getting legal questions straightened out by the actions of these agencies, and that the people of Arizona deserve officials that act in accordance to the rule of law. So if that's what you all heard, she didn't call special session. They got 13 vacancies they've had for a long time. And apparently those 13 agencies have been taking liberties with certain things, and people got problems with them, and they're pushing back. Cameraman, how you doing? Glad to see you in the chats, buddy. Just seeing what I missed. Yeah, the rule of law is what she ended up with. What she ended up saying. So, according to the Twitter that she sent out, according to that article that character wrote, giving us this convoluted explanation, she's apparently back in the saddle, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because you don't switch out governors every time somebody goes on an airplane ride to Washington, D.C. It's unheard of. So, you know, one thing I noticed, if somebody's really going to get their bell rung or get in trouble, Trump doesn't say nothing about it. He's going to have clean hands. Remember that, folks. Clean hands. Just like when he was talking about last night, I won't do it. I won't do it. And what he was talking about was people were asking, are you going to go after Joe Biden? Are you going to look for vengeance against your political opponents? And he said, I won't do it. But just a change of inflection. I won't do it. You say it like that, I won't do it. That doesn't mean somebody else won't. That's what we talked about last night. Somebody's going to go after. This criminality is going to be answered for. Do people think that we're going to lose our constitutional republic? And do people think that these crimes are going to continue unabated and unpunished? Those are all keywords. You could go unpunished and lose our constitutional republic. You get the same exact three posts on cue. So something's going on. But then when she comes back to Twitter, who does she put and praise? The biggest traitor we know. She goes from talking about some kind of baloney award they won from the Biden administration and whatever mundane garbage they put up on Twitter to talking about how great McStain was. I found that very interesting. Hi, Alicia. How you doing? Marilyn, how you? Garrett. I don't know about the cloning. Hi, Georgia. Didn't Carrie Lake have a big? We asked you, Carrie had a big win. One of those articles I was looking at when I was scouring to see any news on what's really going on with Katie Hobbs. PBS had on their chief Trump ally and election denier, Carrie Lake, announces a bid for Senate or something like that. PBS, we're paying for that garbage. That's right, no name, Jersey Joe. I call him McStain. So, yeah, so that's a dust up there. And I don't know if we're going to get to the bottom of it or what. But the Fetterman Act passes. All senators will be required to dress like professionals in the Senate. No more of this running around looking like bums. I just got to make sure I don't drop out of the broadcast. It looks like I'm doing all right. So, do you think she had a little direction, a lecture? I'm not going off on some crazy tangent, because to hand the reins of power over to another entity is not done lightly. It's not done because you're out of town. But it came apparently out of the blue upon her return from Taiwan. And apparently the person that was supposed to be acting governor before the treasurer, Mrs. Yi, was also in Taiwan. I don't know. But they might have got picked up at the airport if they were. Hey, states cannot negotiate things with foreign powers. Governors can't run around dealing with foreign entities. So that might have been it. She might have got picked up and gotten her marching orders, or gotten, who knows? Who knows? But I said Arizona was going to be ground zero. That's right, Kicking Bird. We'll keep an eye out for a boot. Or just like Ellen, that and Oprah had just that lump in there on their ankle where they had something strapped to their ankle, but you could see it. Because that's a signal. I think that trip to Taiwan was a big enough violation of the law. And at the same time, they had these 13 appointments. The mainstream media has not covered any of it, but you've got these agencies that have not got any department heads, and that treasurer was fighting every step of the way for what, a year? And it's not a big deal. State treasurer, acting governor for a few hours. Arizona Treasurer Yi bars 2 Hobbs appointees from investment meeting. That was yesterday. That was before the announcement. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs pulls remaining directors' nominees, citing partisan obstruction. That was 3 days ago. Well, she was in Taiwan, according to that article I just read. Arizona Governor Hobbs withdraws agency director nominees in a move to sidestep the controversy, I guess. How long was she in Taiwan? Did I read that right? Yeah, she'd been in there. She'd been. You don't go to Taiwan and come back the same day. I can tell you that. John Kerry was in Taiwan at the same time. Diane. I don't doubt it. Well, we know Kerry is on video for meeting with people in Iran while Mr. T was president. Conducting negotiations with a foreign power when he didn't have no more business than the man on the moon doing that. Let me see here. Oh, I don't have that article. Well, she was in Taiwan, and I guess she telephoned in, yanking the directors. Well, Taiwan is a U.S. ally. Maybe they went over there thinking they were doing some kind of trade deal and all this stuff illegal, and they ended up going in the conference room and staring at a bunch of U.S. military. Have a seat. That might have been what happened. And they might have told her, go ahead and pull those nominees. Here's the phone. Do it right now. And then when she got back to the U.S., okay, now time for your arraignment. And until you post bail, you got to have, or agree to your terms of release, you got to have somebody else doing your job. You think so, Georgia? A little waterboarding? Well, I came across this article. Target is closing some stores across U.S. due to retail theft. That was from News 19. I think that's CBS. Yeah, they're closing. Not only that theft, but their sales have fallen through the basement. Just like every other bunch that goes with this woke crap, we need to put the pressure on. But yeah, I thought that was funny that popped up in my newsfeed while I was checking out this situation with Katie Hobbs. And what I had before this stuff kind of flared up, because I was thinking, there'd be some answer to this. And of course, I'm thinking the possibilities at the same time. So I was going to discuss what they're trying to do with Trump and how they're really activating everything they've got. Everything on my thumbnail. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but on one side, on the left side, I got General Milley and I've got Ann Navarro. That symbolizes the media and the military. On the other side, you've got Sotomayor. You've got that creepy judge in New York that ordered the Trump organization dissolved within 10 days. And then you've got Judge Chutkin. And right in the front, you got Barack Hussein Obama. And I put Trump's eyes back behind him like he's looking at him like they're in a fish bowl, a little fish bowl. He's just looking in the fish bowl. He's got them trapped. And I think that's where we're at. So, but they are cutting everybody loose. Let me see what's going on. So, they had a SHOOTING in Pennsylvania. I was talking last night about how those riots flared up, and I put on my Truth Social page a copy of a video. It's a short video, but you hear this person, this TikToker that's filming the looting and traveling along with these looters in separate short videos. But the one video I put up, you see these people, the cops are jumping on these looters, and this person is laughing like they're psychotic. I'm not kidding you. And then she said, "Where are we going next?" And they went to the next store, started looting that store. Well, anyway, that person's name, I didn't know it at the time, but their name was Meatball. And she looks like a meatball. But anyway, she got arrested. So I figured, well, and a lot of creators put up her mugshot, and she got arrested for, I don't know if it was interfering with police or joining in on the looting or what. But there was one video where she went into Popeyes and was filming. Everybody was trying to menace the Popeyes workers. And she was screaming, "People got to eat. Give us that effing chicken," and all this stuff. But the employees were kind of like, get out of here, and they all left and didn't tear the place up. But that might have been what she was inciting. We'll see what happens. So some of these creators that create trouble so they can create a video, a lot of them have been getting arrested and going to jail. Not just people doing riots, but a lot of these auditors or, I respect people that video their police encounters for their own safety, make a video, everybody learns from it. Yeah, that's okay. But people that go places and try to stir up trouble, well, this lady, girl, whatever, she was participating in the trouble, and off to jail you go. So Grady Judd in Florida, he had another press conference. Did you all get a chance to see that? 200 plus people arrested, and human trafficking, basically. Prostitution, solicitation of prostitution. There were children involved under the age, right? And a lot of them going to jail. But he did a public shaming of them. One was, he said, what is a raid here on this type of activity without Disney employees? And they had 4 of them, I believe it was. 4 of them were employees of Disney. But he pointed that out, put their pictures up, some of the worst ones. But there were 44 felonies, and of the people they arrested, they had prior felony convictions, over 200 prior felony convictions. So I think this is going on in a lot more places than just Florida. And they had 18 of the people that were customers trying to buy services, if you know what I'm talking about. 18 of them were on public assistance. So that's where taxes are going. And they had drugs on them, all of them. And that's what Grady Judd was pointing out. And the ones who, some of the ones that were managing or pimping out the situation were in this country illegally. Women that were managing he called them indentured them. That's what they used to call back in colonial days. They used to call people indentured servants. A lot of people from England and Ireland, it was the same thing, slaveries. And these women would track their, I guess, what would you call them, their inventory, 7 days a week. They gave them Wednesdays off. Oh, thank you, Cindy. I see your comment. The truth is being spoken here because truths are just gaslighting. That's right. You know, it's exciting enough to talk about what's actually happened, but a lot of them want to stretch it out. And you know what is very important? I was talking about this last night on Nikki's show a little bit. I talked about it in past programs. People getting themselves very distressed and very worked up, right? Well, it causes health problems because everybody talks about the achrome, you know what I mean? How these people will pay top buck for some really good, that hormone, right? Well, there's a stress hormone, especially as we get older, that's called cortisol. And whenever you get upset and worried, your body releases cortisol in your system, and it's very corrosive. And that's why I'm trying to tell people to be at peace and be prepared, and don't be scared, and don't be upset when something does happen. You got to keep your head on right and get through it. And as you can see, I lost about 15 people off chats because I'm not immediately talking about some speculation or postulation about what happened to Katie Hobbs. I'm talking about stuff that in the future will benefit you if you don't put your mind and body in a fight or flight situation or distress situation. You won't be injecting that cortisol into yourself. It's corrosive. It causes arthritis. It causes heart disease. It causes all accelerated aging. So, you know, you got to be at peace. And I was thinking about something else. We think about all the children, right? It upsets everybody. It upsets you when you think about a little precious human life not even getting a chance to see the first ray of sun, right? That upsets us. And it's happening so much. But I was thinking about the condition of our nation. Of our nation's soul. We have to think that we don't deserve an easy ending to this. Stick with me. I'm sure there are many individual American citizens that deserve a good ending. There are many, many of them. But our nation as a whole, letting things get this far, I'm sure, and I don't want to bring it up too much, but you can't bring it up too much. When you talk about the days of Noah, when you talk about Sodom and Gomorrah, when you talk about the 20-some thousand deaths while they were worshiping Baal and Peor, right? It's in the Bible. I'm sure there were in both cities. There were children. Remember the Precious Moments fad that they had back in the 80s? Kids, they had their eyeballs were about 2/3 the size of their head. You know, they had great big eyes. And I'm sure those cities were full of children, full of pregnant mothers. But hey, there was punishment. There was punishment in Noah's day of what we would call innocent children. But the parents had gotten so decrepit and void of faith, and they were acting in such a way that there was punishment. When the walls of Jericho came tumbling down, I'm sure there were kids in there too. And so I'm not saying be callous. I'm saying protect yourself from undue mental anguish. Okay? You do what you can do. You live the best way you can live. And if things get scary, I call them minions, these people that cause these riots, these people that hold public office and abuse the trust. That judge that made that ruling without Trump having a jury, without him having a trial, he's no better than the meatball, okay, with the camera laughing and running around. They're at the same level as far as I'm concerned. And they're nothing but little minions, okay? And there's a lot of them, and we're seeing more and more of them every day being exposed. So, as I've said, every hair on every head has been counted, and he knew us before he formed us in the womb. So, these little souls that don't get to see the light of day, the meek shall inherit the earth. And they're as innocent can be. And we do what we can to stop it. We do what we can to persuade people. But then again, we have to remember, when there is some righteous action taken by the big guy, it goes across the board. It did in Noah's day. It did in Sodom and Gomorrah. That's right, Nikki. I see what you're saying there about you and your husband. It's not the way it used to be, where both spouses were on a hamster wheel all day working at a job, and no end in sight. And when you pay off your home, they're still picking your pocket for these outrageous taxes, and they're living like kings, and they're throwing your money around like confetti. And what they did to Trump with the Mar-a-Lago property, his businesses, it just shows that there's a huge, powerful insurgency of these minions that have no respect for people's property. Their efforts have no respect for people to live in peace. They don't want that. They don't even want Trump to live. Megyn Kelly mentioned it, that she was worried about, I'll say it, an assassination attempt. That young guy I was talking about, I've mentioned many times on the show before, named Tim Pool. He had a panel on there, 3 other people, so all 4 of them, and they started talking about it. I mean, these are, the generation before us, or, well, a couple of generations. But, you have people in their 30s, on the internet talking about, hey, if they think Trump's going to win, I'm afraid they're going to KILL him. You got just regular people having that come in their mind. So, yeah, it's hard to keep that stress hormone from going in your body. but they're young. They can take it. They need some stress because they have a history of, oh, let people, same-sex marriage, it's okay. People love each other. It's okay. Yeah. Well, now they see how far it's going. So they need a little cortisol. They need the stress hormone stuff. We're of the age and we're of the degree of faith and spirituality that we know it's going to turn out all right. And we're prepared and we know people are working for us. Yeah, I saw that, Cheryl. I saw that yesterday on the NPC show, 1,000 people missing in Ohio. And Diane, yeah, yours taxed $3,400 a year. Yeah. And if you're a day late, they tack on another $340. And then 6 months later, you got to pay half of it, or bam, it's another 10% lump sum right on top of it. That can double in the snap of a finger. That's right, Georgia. We're going to turn the table soon. Jersey Joe, my God, 10 grand. You know, you could buy a really nice vehicle for that. Every year, that's a lot of Christmas presents going to a bunch of bums. As far as I'm concerned, that's exactly where it's going, to a bunch of bums. But our nation, as far as the Constitution is concerned, as far as people's faith, people thinking about their legacy, about what they're going, how they're going to account for the way they live their lives. People are arrogant, self-absorbed, disinterested. They're just disinterested. Little Johnny comes home from school and talks about the PE teacher trying to talk him into having bottom surgery. Oh, give me the remote, Johnny. They're disinterested. Why even have kids? Why even have them? But then they create the system where a parent can't stay home and raise the kids because they both have to work. And that $10,000 tax bill is a good example, that $3,500 tax bill, because that's just one area where they got their hand in your pocket. You got to pay taxes in many states on your vehicles, farm equipment, business equipment, inventory. So they're ungrateful that they even have a constitution. Somebody put in the chats the last time I broadcasted to pray also for people in other countries. And this is paraphrasing. People in other countries like the J6 people. You know, we get upset, and rightfully so, but we need to have a righteous anger, not the type of anger that stresses you out and hurts you physically. You got to have the kind of anger that fires you up in a positive way. But the thing is, as terrible as the J6 prisoners are being treated, that person in the chats the other night had a good point. Most every other country's got way more than the J6 people, and it's a way of life, not the aberration that we're seeing. But they can do it because we know, as we were watching, many of us watch a lot of programs that are good. That bring up the Act of 1871, where DC became its own state within a state. And remember, Trump said it at least two different rallies, two different speeches. Federal takeover of Washington, D.C. Now, he was saying it in reference to the crime and the homelessness. He was pointing all those things out. And I said, these are not promises or aspirations. These are things that will happen. So I think that he brought up a federal takeover of Washington, D.C., not only because of the homelessness and the decrepit state of the city itself, but that business of a state within a state is not going to be the case anymore. So I hope that you would agree with that, and that is right out of Mr. T's mouth. I mean, he said it at two different speeches. You know, Ann Navarro, I watched her. That's the reason I put her representing the media tonight on the thumbnail. She went down a litany of calling Trump a liar, calling him a criminal, calling him a assaulter, I'll say, S3X. I mean, just going down the line in the most outrageous way. And if there's some way, hook or crook, I could have Ann Navarro hear what I had to say, I'd say, look, if in a normal world, that kind of libel, that kind of incitement, that kind of slander, that kind of damage you cause with that kind of ignorant and false talk would be very, very expensive. That would cost you a lot of money. And it may very well yet. So a lot of people are looking at a lot of liability. When he was talking about stopping child mutilation. And I'm taking a chance of getting the rhythm because of some of the words I'm saying. But when he was talking about that, yeah, at first I said, oh gosh, he's talking about passing a law to stop something that's already, in a rational mind, illegal. It's illegal. And I said, well, that means the ones that are doing it up until that law gets passed get a free pass. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're going to go on a case-by-case basis. They're going to go on a case-by-case basis. You're going to see a lot of these so-called doctors paying a heavy price, not just for financial-wise. And another thing that was being shown, I don't know if you all got it in your feeds, but school situations where these, quote, transgender girls, quote, girls, were beating up non-transgender girls. I guess that's the way to say it, because you can't say natural girls, kids that get mad over that. But anyway, formerly a boy beating up a girl. 2 videos I saw like that. And I tell you what, these principals, these therapists, all these people, this stuff, if you know anybody in that situation or has, document every responsible party, because there's going to be massive lawsuits. Massive. Because without that, we're not having justice served. Let me just check the chats here. That's right, Robin. I pray to see it too. See justice served. Hi, Garrett. How are you doing? Raymond Butters, how are you doing? So anyway, since I'm not on is Katie Hobbs on the way to Guantanamo? I've lost about 30 viewers, so that's okay. I keep on going. By the way, this is a viewer supported and creator supported channel only. Uh, I've got a buy me a coffee link in the description. If anybody wants to help the channel out, it's greatly appreciated. Let's see. Whoa. Yeah, that's right. Bambi was born a boy. Yeah, you got a question. You can't tell. Well, I can. Most of the times you could tell, right? Most of the times you can tell. But Karen, I want to thank Karen. She was the last one to help me out in the last show, and really appreciate it. That's for this week. That's it. So anyway, let's see. It bothers all of us, Garrett, not just Nikki B. I mean, doing things that are irreversible, to somebody who doesn't have the psychological development to make a decision for themselves. Oh my, that's right, Kathy. It's upsetting. Yeah, it's upsetting when you see a child being pushed in that direction. So anyway, Trump's had to expand his legal team. He's hired 2 more attorneys. And of course, one thing the press had not mentioned with this latest story with Trump, quote, losing this law case, the judge also sanctioned Trump's attorneys $7,000, or I don't know the exact figures, but every single time. When have you ever heard of attorneys getting sanctioned and punished and fined for defending their client? It's happening every time with Trump's attorneys. That's right, just us. Doug said, just us. Yeah, Garrett. She's cranky. You better lay off. So anyway, we'll see. What's her name? Katie Hobbs. She, if she does appear and going through the motions, I think she's probably been given instructions. This is way too iffy and shaky of a situation for somebody to be acting governor. I don't care if it's for 1 hour. I don't care. The only way I know that they're signaling she's actually back in office is she made that tweet about John McStain, or made the X about John McCain. I'm saying McStain. And I'll just say real quick, this writer's strike is supposed to be over today. That's why we haven't seen the late night shows and this and that and this. I thought it was excuse me, a house cleaning as far as people being involved in stuff they shouldn't be involved in. You know what I'm talking about. As far as young people, I believe that's the case too. But also, what one person who really keeps an eye on Hollywood and gossip and everything like that. They've got 11,000 people in that Writers Guild. And what they're saying was the strike gave Disney and so many big companies the ability to cancel ongoing projects because of the writer's strike. There ain't going to be 11,000 jobs left. The work isn't going to be out there. So they've cut way back on their obligations to put out, excuse me, folks, to put out stuff. So they might have just striked themselves out of a job, but that's just, well, they've been putting out garbage anyway. So anyway, folks, Kim said, been cranky for the last 3 years. Well, don't be cranky anymore, because all this stuff is good signs. Like I said, if Mr. T's got his chin up, what did he say that I took as a good sign? He said, boy, I could be having a good life. Where's that? He said, but instead I have to beat these people up every day. That something like that. That he didn't say they're beating me up. He said I could be living a happy life, a relaxed life, but instead I gotta go against and beat up all these weirdos every day. So yeah, if he's feeling good about it, I'm feeling good about it. Mountain Man, let's see, RFBN had an event for the 30th for Trump. What? For Trump to speak somewhere and then took it down an hour later, probably got cancer? What? No, canceled. Oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe they'll put it back up, Garrett. Maybe they'll put it back up. I mean, he's got a blistering schedule. You think about it. Last week he did interviews, he gave speeches, he did rallies. He gave a blistering schedule. So, all right, folks, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe so you know when I go live again. We're going to be talking about more of these court cases, what's going on with Judge Chutkan, what we're thinking these moves and counter moves are. I think right now we're in a phase of exposing this judiciary. We're learning about these corrupt judges and prosecutors. At the same time, I had on my thumbnail earlier, Marjorie Taylor Greene said, we're casting a wide net. That's what she said at the beginning of the impeachment here, the hearings for the impeachment inquiry. Now, as I've said before, if they go straight to impeachment, they can't be subpoenaing people for evidence. They can't be combing through things or anything like that. It's they go to an impeachment vote, yes or no, in the House, and then they send it to the Senate with whatever they have right now. And then the Senate, there's so many ways they can wiggle out of it, drag it out. The government might shut down. We don't know. So this impeachment inquiry is the way to go. Comer said he was going to be subpoenaing more documents from Hunter Biden. That's a big deal. And remember what Greg Jarrett said? Before Halloween, something big was going to happen. I'm just not going crazy over it, but I'm just remembering it. Okay. Devin Nunes, about 20 days ago, said Biden had 60 days left. I don't know. And Mr. T said China was going to drop a dime on Biden, something that was really going to blow out his administration. So Keep that in mind, folks. And desperate demons do desperate things. So every time you see something on the news, keep a level head. Well, Garrett, they shut down when Trump was president, had the longest shutdown. They shut down under Obama. We shall see. So you all have a great night. I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me. We'll keep an eye on old Katie Hobbs, and I'll be back up soon. So you all have a great night. This is Mountain Man, over and out.